continuation of section 8.1. And we talked about the sum of the interior angles in the first part of 8.1. Second part of 8.1 is going to make us discover something about exterior angles of any polygon. Okay? When we talk about exterior angles, we need to know what we're looking at when we talk about exterior angles. Sometimes they're not quite as easy to locate as you might think. I want you to draw a quadrilateral, which is a rectangle. Okay, now it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's make it look like a rectangle because we know something about rectangles already. Okay, what do you know about rectangles? We know that all of the angles are 90. That's interior angles. Where are your exterior angles located on rectangles? In order to find any exterior angles, you have to take the sides of all the sides of your polygon, and you have to extend them out. The angles that are outside, these are your exterior angles. Okay? Now, using our knowledge, what happens when you're looking? I'm going to kind of draw a new example. Please draw this as well. What if you have an interior angle? I'm going to put INT, and this is some other kind of polygon. I'm going to work with a different kind of polygon later. But let's just put INT in there, and then I'm going to extend it and put EXT here. Any situation that you could ever have, what do you notice about the interior angle and the exterior angle? What do they make together? Do you see your straight line? Your linear pair. So what do we know about the degree measure of any linear pair? If we have this angle here meeting up with this other angle and they form the straight line, what's always your total for a straight line? Is 180. So this angle plus this angle, it should total 180 degrees. So coming back up here, if I know that the interior angle is 90, can't I always find the exterior angle by taking your total? Straight line is 180. Subtract off your 90 that you already have. What is this exterior angle also going to be? It's also going to be 90 degrees. Also, what kind of lines are these here in a rectangle? These are always going to be perpendicular when you extend that side out. Okay, so if the interior is 90, your exterior is also going to be 90. Here it's going to be 90. Here it's going to be 90. Okay. What is going to be the sum? What we're working with in this section is we want to know the sum of the exterior angles. Okay. Well, take this rectangle. And we have a 90 here, 90 here, 90 here, 90 here. Let's just add those all together. What does the sum of the exterior angles going to total? If you do this on the calculator, you're going to notice your total is going to be 360. Okay. Now, our question is that just for rectangles? Is there a different number that we're going to get for triangles? Is there a different number that we might get for pentagons, and etc.? Let's do an example and let's make a pentagon. I'm going to throw this vocabulary word in here. Let's talk about a regular pentagon. Okay, what does it mean to be regular? Now that seems like a simple word and a common word, but it's very important. What does it mean to be regular pentagon? If you will remember, this word regular means that all the sides are congruent, and all the angles as well are congruent. So regular means all the sides congruent and all the angles are congruent. Pentagon has 5 sides. Regular means we've got to get all those sides being the same length. It may be a kind of a hard task for you. Sometimes it's a hard task for me to be perfect. So you don't have to be perfect with your drawing. But let's do the best that we can. Let's try this. you will draw a pentagon. If your pentagon looks like the sides are not all congruent to each other, just make sure you have 5 sides. And in geometry, when we're just making a sketch, we can kind of cheat a little bit. It's okay if you're not perfect, but what's going to tell us that all those sides are congruent? We can just put these little hash marks, is what I call them, in there on every side, and that's just going to tell the reader that, hey, these sides are congruent. Okay, so if it doesn't look perfect, just put those on there, and we are going to assume that they are congruent to each other. Also, we could put our little angle congruency marks in there to say that all these angles are congruent. But I'm going to leave that off for right now because we're going to actually find exactly what measures they are. Okay, now if we have a regular pentagon, we've got 5 sides, we've got 5 angles. All of these angles are exactly the same measure because that's the definition of regular. Can we come up with a way to determine exactly what each one of the interior angle measures are? Well, can you tell me what's the sum of the interior angles in a pentagon? We just did this earlier. If you remember that number, it's always going to be the same number for pentagons. If you don't remember, what's your formula? Sum of the interior angles, you're going to take the number of sides, subtract 2, times 180. When you do this for pentagon, you will get the sum of the interior angles to be 540. If I know that pentagons have a sum of 540, and I know that this pentagon is regular, all of these angles are congruent to each other, how can I determine what is going to be the exact measure of all of those? Well, take your total and divide it by the number of angles that you have. 540 divided by 5. They all have to be the same, so let's split 540 into 5 even parts. If you have $540 and you have 5 people that you want to be very generous to and you want to give them all the same amount, well, take your total and divide by the number of people you have, and that's going to be exactly how much each one would get. Okay, same concept here. 108 is what I get on my calculator. Check it. What does that mean? All of these angle measures are going to be 108. Okay? Now, you may have some problems that want you to discover what is each interior angle. And this is going to be how you can do that. Now, what if we're talking about the sum of the exterior angles? Let's discover something here. Okay, let's continue our side links here. Extend every side in one direction. And let's form the exterior angles. And remember, what do you know about interior angles and exterior angles? They always are going to form this 180 degrees. So can you come up with a process of how can we find the exterior angle if we know the interior is 108? Your total for a straight line is always 180. We need this other part here. We've already got 108 on the inside. When you subtract these, 72 is what you have left when you subtract them. 72 is here, 72 is here, 72 is here, here. All right, now, what is the sum? Let's find out total. Exterior angles, each one of these is 72 degrees. Okay, how many exterior angles do you have in a pentagon? Pentagon has 5 sides, has 5 interior angles, has 5 exterior angles. Therefore, let's take 72, multiply it by 5 to find the sum of the exterior angles. What do you get? Try it. Your total, you are going to see, is 360 degrees. Now, unlike the interior angle one, exterior angle, if you do this with any polygon, you're always going to get the same total. What is This is sum of exterior angles on any polygon is always 360. There is not some magic formula or some formula that you need to memorize for this. This is it. What's the sum of the exterior angles is 360. Now we're going to take that information and we're going to use it to solve some problems. They're going to give you some different pieces, but here's your concept when you're talking about exterior angles. 360 is on the outside. That's your total always.